I'm Courtney, and today we're going to be demonstrating archery for a lesson plan. Right now we're going to get warmed up and we're going to stretch out our arms, so go ahead and put your right over your left. This is going to help us stretch out our deltoids and our shoulders to get ready to pull back on the bow.
Wait, I said...
Okay, go ahead and switch. Make sure you make a good pull, stretch those shoulders, get them worked out, loosened up. Good. Go ahead and shake it out. Now we're going to go into truck twist, and we're going to loosen up the core to get ready to get our balance all situated. Make sure you make some nice deep turns. Good. Now we're going to stretch it out in our legs, and we're going to go to the left. And we're going to stretch out our thighs, make sure our legs are warmed up. It's a little cold out here, so we're going to warm it up. Go ahead and switch. Make sure you're putting weight on the leg and stretching out those thighs. Good. Now shake it out. Now we're going to do a little jog in place. Make sure we're warmed up. Make sure those knees are high. Good. Go ahead and relax. We're going to demonstrate some parts so we know the bow and arrow. Go ahead and hold that. We're going to have the cams, which help pull back the draw for the archer. It helps to relieve some pressure and tension on the arrow. We have the upper and lower limbs, which help the cams loosen up a little to give that easy pull back. Next we have the whisker biscuit, which holds the arrow in place. So when we go, we're going to make sure, go ahead and put that in. Okay, we want to make sure that the arrow is knocked into the string. Good. Now we have the sights, which help the archer determine distance from the arrow or the target that they're going to be shooting at. And lastly, we have the quiver, which some people will use either as a little backpack, or they'll have it right next to them to make sure they have arrows ready and available, or we can put it in cones if you're just doing target practice. Good. I'm going to hold that for you. Next we have the arrow. The long shaft of it is a shaft. It can be made out of anything, wood, carbon, aluminum, whatever is beneficial for your targeting. Next we have the tip, which is a field point tip for shooting today. There's also blunts, and there's also blades depending on what type of archery you're going to be doing. Last we have the colored little tabs on the arrow, and those are the vanes. And those can be either color you want. They're a little bit of decorative, but they will help your arrow shoot straight. Now that we have the parts, we're going to go over to the setup, and we're going to make sure that the archer knows their stance and positioning. So follow me. Okay, as we have here, we have cones that designate the 20-yard marker for the shooter. Each shooter needs to make sure that they stay behind the cones for safety so that no student or other shooter is allowed in the area of the shooting. Okay, go ahead and hold the bow. Right now we're going to demonstrate a dry run, which is no arrows and no pulling back of the string. We want to make sure that the archer has a correct stance and positioning. So go ahead and put your foot, right dominant foot, good. And we want to make sure that your body is facing square with the side. Go ahead and hold your bow out, make sure it's out straight. And you're going to practice how you were going to draw and pull back, make sure that you're anchoring right at the corner of your mouth and the archer's elbow is up straight. Good, go ahead and relax. Now what we're going to do is a demonstration of just pulling the string back to make sure that the archer is ready and capable of pulling the string back. Go ahead and pull the string back. Good. We want to make sure that the archer is anchored, his elbow is up, his body is facing us, and he's ready, his straight elbow, nothing's bent, good, and he's pointing right at the target. Go ahead and slowly bring back to neutral. Good job. Next, we are going to have him put on his release, and we're going to make sure and see and he will shoot an arrow when he's ready and comfortable, making sure that his stancing is correct, his elbow's up, he's anchoring, he knows where he's aiming his target, and he will release. And when he wants to practice his release, he wants to hold it up he'll have pointing at the target, and when he's done, he will release, and he'll hold that position to ensure that the arrow has released. Here is a release. This will fit around the archer's wrist, and it'll hook on to the little knock, and it'll allow the archer to allow some weight to be released to helping the cams pull the draw back for the archer. Right now, there are different lengths of these. There are adults, youths, minis, short, long. Right now, it's too small for the archer himself, so we're just going to have him show us a regular pull with arrows and just using fingers, which isn't commonly acceptable with compound. It's a lot easier with the release, but if you don't have one, your fingers are still acceptable. So right now we're going to have go ahead and grab an arrow that you're going to use. We're going to place it in the whisker biscuit, which holds the arrow in place. Slide it through, and we're going to make sure when you go to lock the arrow in, you want to hear a click. Good. And that'll let you know that you're ready and to fire away. But we're going to have the archer place an arrow into the whisker biscuit, sliding it through the whisker biscuit, and we're going to have him lock it into place on the string, and you're going to hear a click, so you're going to make sure that the arrow is in place. Go ahead and stand up to the cones. Okay, now when you're ready, when the archer is ready to pull back, he's going to lift his bow directly in front of him. Go ahead. Get ready to anchor your arrow, and you're going to pull back, making sure that he's anchored right at the corner of his mouth to ensure that he's have balance, and he's going to have his elbow pointed up, making sure he's anchored. His body's going to be facing forward, and he'll release when ready. Whenever you're ready. Good. Now that he's shot his first arrow, and when he's comfortable, he can go ahead and shoot 2 more whenever ready, making sure that when he's pulled back, he's anchored, his body's facing forward, his elbow is up, his right holding arm is anchored completely straight, holding out steady, and when he lets go, you make sure he's holding his ending position. So go ahead and shoot another arrow. He's going to insert the arrow, listen for the click, get ready in his stance. When he's ready, he's going to pull back, making sure he's anchored properly, elbows up, body facing forward, and firing when ready. Good. And he held his position at the end, allowing the arrow for a positive streamline, and then he'll go ahead, and when he's ready, he'll shoot for his 3rd arrow. Go ahead and shoot 1 more. He inserts, waits for the click, setting his draw, pulls, anchoring with elbow up, firing when ready, and holds his position.